if you live in Canada or the United States, there is a service which could be significantly of interest to you in terms of short-range communication, or maybe we could even call it medium-range communication to some sort of an extent, because you can probably get 30 miles out of this one. The name of it is General Mobile Radio Service. Now, if you're living in Canada, you don't need a licence for it. It's licence exempt. If you live in the United States, however, there is a minimal licence fee attached to it, and it's not that terribly much. It's less than $100. It covers you for a period of 5 years. So what are the advantages of GMRS? Well, GMRS can connect to GMRS repeaters. Now, what is a repeater? Well, a repeater is sort of, if you can imagine, an automated type of station where it's listening on one frequency, an input frequency, and it sort of sends out the repeated message of what it hears on the input out on a different frequency called an output frequency. Now, the benefit of this is, if you position a repeater on top of a mountain, people on one side of the mountain can tune in to the input frequency of the repeater, send the message to the repeater then repeats the message out on the output frequency, and it goes to the other side of the mountain, to the other village. So that's why you can get very long distances with GMRS. As I said, you can get distances of about 30 miles out of it, so well worth looking into. Another benefit is that you actually have 23 channels available on GMRS. You can also have small base stations with fairly decent antennas. They can't be any more than 20 feet above the ground or above a tree on which the antenna is mounted. There are different other sort of rules and regulations that you'd want to look into about GMRS. It's not something that you'd sort of say, this video will cover everything. You just have to look into the rules and regulations, because, for example, you're allowed to use GMRS anywhere in Canada, including up against the US border. But in the US, you're allowed to use it pretty much anywhere, with a few exceptions, and mainly those exceptions are along the Canadian border. So you can't use it against the Canadian border in the US, but you can use it anywhere in Canada, including up against the US border. So there are a lot of different peculiarities. There are also different things relating to you can hand the GMRS radios out for use to immediate family members, which is a massive advantage. So your licence actually covers immediate family members as well. But you see, there is sort of a complication in a sense. You have to look up with the GMRS what is actually defined as an immediate family member, because you might think, oh, this person is a family member, but are they, in accordance with that particular piece of legislation, deemed an immediate family member? So it's well worth looking into. The GMRS, you can get GMRS FRS dual radios. So you can get a radio that actually operates with GMRS frequencies and FRS frequencies, so you can use it in essence for both. But you have to be careful about how much power you use on the FRS frequencies, because that's different than the GMRS. So yet again, as I said, GMRS is something that could be well worth looking into. If you're serious about communication and you want to get long distances out of it, then GMRS is certainly something that should be looked at. But just be aware that there is a small licence fee if you're in the United States, and of course that you do have massive benefits in terms of being able to use base stations instead of just handhelds, but you have to be careful about the height of the antennas, the power that you put out from those antennas, and also where you're operating in the United States with these devices.